Please welcome Becky Gerritson. That was such a quick transition from lunch that I'm a little winded. I was putting out books, so you don't intimidate me too much, but I am a little discombobulated because I'm not quite settled. But I am going to share with you today on a very exciting topic. I'm sure you're all really looking forward to hearing about it, but we have an epidemic of pornography in our culture now, and it is time that we really get a hold of this and stop it. So my goal right now is I'm going to just do like a 35,000-foot overview of pornography and what's happening in our culture. Donna is going to come up right after me, and she's going to actually give you a lot more details. I'm just kind of going over the big stuff. And one of the most important things that I want to leave with you today, and we'll get there at the end, is I have some resources for you today that you can help your family be protected today. And so I want you just to hang on for a minute. My role as executive director for Alabama Eagle Forum allowed me to go to Washington, D.C. this summer and attend the 2019 Global Summit on Sex Trafficking. Before this time, I really didn't know a whole lot about pornography. I mean, I kind of knew it was an issue, but I didn't really realize what a big deal it was. So when I got back, I started talking to some of my friends, and one of my friends is a school bus driver, and I start bringing up pornography, and did you know what a big deal this is? And she said, oh, Becky, I have third graders on my bus that are watching porn on their way to school. I live in Wetumpka, Alabama, a small little community outside of Montgomery. We're talking the Bible Belt, red state. Shortly after that, I was talking to a legislator who's going to carry a bill dealing with pornography for us, and we were talking. He has a friend his wife has a friend who's a bus driver in a different part of the state up near Birmingham. And he said, oh yeah, Becky, they're telling stories that they're breaking up sex acts on the bus. They're filming sex acts on the bus, and the bus driver's having to go back there and stop them. This is Alabama. If it's happening in Alabama, it is happening in your state. I would love to be able to just put my head in the sand and not think about that. It's horrible. But this is a reality, this is the world that we live in. The other thing I want to stress to you is that if you were like me and not really associated with the porn world, this is not the 1950s and 60s little pinup centerfold kind of pornography. Mainstream pornography that you see within 15 seconds of Googling or typing the word porn into the Google search bar, it's cruel, it's abusive, it's violent, and it's free. And it can be accessed by anyone, any age, anywhere, and it is happening. Did you know that the average age that children see porn now is 11 years old? Donna's going to come up and tell you that newer research is even showing that it's 8 years old. The average age of viewing porn. We're not talking just a few dirty pictures. We are talking horrific, violent, awful things. It is reported that children under the age of 10 now, when you look at minors age 18 and under, starting with age 10, they make up 22% of computer online porn consumption. So 20% of those minors that are viewing porn are 10 or younger. So how pervasive is it? Is someone running my PowerPoint for me? Oh, uh-oh. Green button. One time. See, I have technical problems. Okay, that's the first time. So let me give you a few, y'all, I updated my slides and I don't know if this is gonna come up. Let me just tell you how, okay. This is from Pornhub. This is the largest, it's like the Drudge Report, but it's for porn. It's a site where kind of there's porn in other places as well, but this is like the hub. Pornhub, this is for 2019. What you see up here is 2018 or 2017. I updated this in the last few hours and I wasn't able to get it on here. That's how many billion annual visits. Well, now it's in 2019, 42 billion annual visits. When people went to Pornhub, 42 billion visits to Pornhub. Every 9 minutes, okay, so a couple times during our talk today, an entire day's worth of content was uploaded on Pornhub. Every 9 minutes, an entire day. If you looked at how much porn is on Pornhub, right now, you stopped putting anything else on Pornhub right now, and you started watching right now, it would take you 68 years to finish watching what is already uploaded. Y'all, I had no idea. America is also the biggest consumer of porn and the biggest producers of porn. Those are the average daily visits. Again, this is it's now up to 115 million average visits, 68 years worth. One of the things I'm going to just kind of, it did come up. Okay, so here, you want to see how pervasive porn is. When you look at, they view pornography at least once a month. Okay, so you think, okay, that's not that bad. It's once a month. 18-year-olds to 30-year-olds. How many of you have an 18-year-old or 30-year-old in your life? Well, there's a pretty good chance they're watching porn at least once a month, 79%. It gets a little bit lower the older you get, but so what do you think it is for women? Ages 18 through 30, 76%. Do you have a young woman in your life in that age group? Most likely, she's watching porn at least once a month. She's not going to tell you about it, probably. This is interesting that 90% of teens and 96% of young adults are either encouraging, accepting, or neutral when they talk about porn with their friends. This harms in a lot of ways. It harms children. Child-on-child abuse is on the rise. 20% of child sex offenders are minors themselves. We are seeing an exponential rise in child-on-child porn and victimization. I have a friend in Alabama who is a Christian counselor, and she had a mother came up to her and said, "We have a serious problem. We have a 6-year-old who was exposed to porn at the neighbor's house, and she's been trying it out on her 2-year-old sister." This is happening. Children's brains are made by God to mimic what they see. That's how they learn. It's just the way they're made. When a father's out there mowing the lawn, you see the little boy behind him pretending he's mowing a lawn, drinking coffee, smoking a cigarette. You see kids act out what they see. It's normal. It's what they do. They can't help it. It's just what they do. So when a child sees porn, they go and try it. It's just a fact of life. So there are some really serious consequences here. As grandparents in the room, as parents, it is time to buckle down and get serious about how to protect your children when this happens. Let me just go back. I can't go back, but it harms the brain. We know, and we've actually seen on MRIs, porn consumption actually changes the chemistry in your brain. The frontal lobe of your brain gets smaller. This is the part of your brain that makes decisions, that is able to control impulse. This is a really important part of your brain. Now, when you're young, it's not fully developed anyway, but then you add porn on top of it, and you have a lot of kids that are having a hard time making judgment calls because their frontal lobe is smaller than it should be. What about leading to addiction? Pornography hijacks the brain's reward system just like cocaine. It's true, and medically we can see that on the scans. It reacts the same way. You get the same reaction viewing porn as you can with having cocaine. It's highly addictive. A 2015 study from Cambridge found that pornography use can be driven to novelty seeking, so just looking at porn originally becomes not enough. And then you have to go to stranger and stranger and stranger things, and then looking at a screen or looking at a book doesn't work anymore. You have to go to the person. It's highly addictive as well. We see increases in sexual violence. This was really shocking to me, but at this sexual exploitation conference that I was at, I came to realize, and there were porn stars there that were testifying about what the life that they had lived. And they've analyzed that 50 of the most popular videos, the most popular porn videos that are seen in the world, that 85% of those contained physical violence, 49% contained verbal aggression, 87% aggressive acts were perpetrated against women, and 95% of the responses of the woman who this is happening to, 95% of her reaction was either neutral or pleasure. And I will tell you from what I have learned and the research I have done that most of the porn that you see is done with trafficked victims that do not want to be there. They are there because they're forced to be there. They are there because there was someone standing behind the camera telling them they better smile and look like they're having fun, or they will not get to eat, or they will not get their next drug fix, because most of them get into drugs because they can't handle the life that they're living. It is time that we address these things. One of the things that we have studied, and I really want to draw your attention to today, is that pornography is the fuel for human trafficking. And as you all know, those of you that are on Facebook, you see every day post after post after post of missing children, of trafficked children. It just blows my mind. It's hard to even go through my news feed and have a time where I look where there's not a missing child or someone who's being trafficked. The more trafficking we have, we know we can blame it on pornography. You want to talk about stopping trafficking, you have to stop the source. The pornography is creating the demand, and it is time that we stop that. So there are a couple of things. Donna will get a little bit more into this on what you see online today. Hopefully you don't see anything online. Hopefully none of you are looking at anything online. But what is available online today, mainstream pornography is all illegal, but it's happening all the time. So one of the, and Donna will get into that a little bit more, but one of the things that Alabama is trying to do, we will be the 16th state, is we are bringing forth a resolution declaring pornography as a public health crisis. Do y'all remember decades ago, smoking became a public health crisis. The lead paint issue became a public health crisis. Pornography has gotten so far out of hand that it is past the individual's ability to heal this. It is time for the community to come together and put a stop to this. We are hoping the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, also called NACOSE, they are leading the charge in getting a federal resolution to declare pornography a public health crisis. Thank you. I'm still recovering from my putting books out. So as soon as, the more states we get to pass resolutions, then the easier it will be to be at the federal level. What this resolution basically does is put a little fire under the Department of Justice, telling them it's time to enact the laws that are on the book. It's time for you to begin prosecuting these people that are doing illegal things. On a sidebar, one of the things, if you go into a bookstore, Barnes and Noble, or you go into a convenience store, first of all, convenience stores, it's illegal to have porn in a convenience store. Did you know that? You've probably gone to the gas station and maybe seen some on a rack somewhere. That's illegal. When you go to Barnes and Noble and you go through whatever section you're looking at, the magazine section, if you see pornography down at eye level, that's illegal. It is against the law to do that, but you know what? They don't care. They want the kids to see it, so they put it down low. So this is one of the ways we can begin setting up some task force in your community to go out and look at bookstores, go to convenience stores, and start calling them out and start making those people that own those businesses uphold the law. I want to tell you a few action items that I have. Maybe. I don't have any more slides. Well, that's okay. I have visual aids right here. There are a couple of ways that you can help your children right now. Even if you're not a grandchild, a grandmother or grandfather, or have kids of your own, you probably know some child. I have a story about a book that I got this when I was at that conference. It's called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. There's a junior version for 3 to 7-year-olds. This is the older versions for 7 to 11-year-olds. We can all agree that kids will see porn at some time in their life. Hopefully it'll never be. But if it is, you hope it's when they're old enough to be able to process and be able to turn away from it. This book is so cute, and it helps children learn what to do when they see something that they shouldn't see. Don't worry, there's no dirty pictures in here. I gave this to my grandson. He loves it. He's 3 years old. We're watching a football game a month or so later, and a commercial came. We were working on a puzzle on the floor, but the TV's going in the background. And I noticed that the TV's over here, but he turns around and he starts looking at the door. So I just watched him for a minute, and I said, "Sammy, are you waiting for somebody to come? I noticed you're looking at the door." And he said, "No, it's a bad picture." A Monster drink commercial came on and had a scary image, and he knew immediately it was uncomfortable and he didn't like it. First thing, turn around, stop looking, and then you tell someone or you run away. This was the best $20 I ever spent, because I knew I am giving him the tools to take control of the situation and not have to feel like he has to keep looking at it. He can turn away. We have another book out there. This is on transgenderism, about you don't have to choose. And if you're a girl, you're an XX. If you're a boy, you're an XY. It's super cute. If you get this, my grandson we went into his room the other day, and he had all his stuffed animals lined up. "What are you doing?" "Well, these are the XXs, and these are the XYs." And so we start asking him, "I'm Mabu. What is Mabu?" "Mabu's an XX." "What is Daddy?" "Daddy's an XY." So he's beginning at 3 years old to know what makes a boy and what makes a girl, and it's not the color of their clothes, it's not the color or the length of their hair, it's their chromosomes. And so I encourage you, when we're all finished, to check out the books out there. Am I done with my 20 minutes?
That's your 20.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
More, but you know what? I have a question that I want you to answer before you leave.
Okay.
What is pornography?
That is a great question. She's going to describe that for you. My friend Wendy is here today, and she has an amazing pornography software filter blocker, better than anything out there. I'm sorry, Wendy. I didn't have anyone timing me. I didn't realize how long I was talking. It is okay. You all need to check that out, because it is for $2 a month. You can have your device and every device in your household protected on cellular Wi-Fi or not, and make sure that your kids are safe.
Thank you, Becky.